All right.
Welcome. Oh, forgot to do an opening for that, but it's a short thing. I thought
Fail.
I thought it was already written. Welcome to episode 361 of An Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 8th of July, 2020, and featuring Big Finish Susan's War, The Uncertain Shore, written by Simon Garrier and starring Carol Ann Ford as Susan Campbell and Beth Chalmers as Veclin. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and I am pretty sure that the dust I've disturbed in my apartment has formed together into a final boss. With me are Randy Ronson McCulloch, who's
Randy.
muted,
Rant.
Ah, darn it, muted.
Mad Matt Winchell,
I hate everything. Let's go back to the 80s.
and Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Lava sus manos, por favor.
No, what I had said while muted, Bill, was try using a vacuum. It'll be super effective.
You suck. It was super effective.
Yeah, considering most of my dusting has been done with all of the leftover compressed air cans that I had, and that just it got the dust off of things.
Yeah, you
now
got that off of things, but you didn't get rid of it.
Yeah, so now anytime I come home and breathe, I sneeze.
Yeah, that's a bad bill. That's a bad bill. You need to be clean counters with actual washcloths, and you need to vacuum your carpet.
I had kind of hoped that leaving two fans on and all the windows open yesterday when it was only 70 degrees out would get rid of some of the dust. It did not help.
No, you've just moved it around, Bill. You just moved it around to the new surfaces.
Yeah, I wanted to get it to the surfaces outside the window.
No, they just move all around inside.
So anybody at home now can imagine Bill versus the Dust Bunny God.
Oh. Just do the Dust Bunny Boogie.
In the middle
Not
of the night,
your ordinary rabbit.
in the middle of the night, he's suddenly a literal bunny made out of dust is going to jump up on his bed and jump down his throat, trying to suffocate him.
It's like that scene from the Doctor Who movie.
Yeah, kind of.
Next week we'll be doing the podcast, and Bill doesn't live here anymore.
There is no Bill, only the bunny.
All right, so tonight's show is not going to be that long.
No.
We've got one birthday. We do have a lost story.
Oh, we do have a birthday? I completely missed that we even had a birthday.
Oh, bad Matt.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it was one of my favorite doctors too. Damn.
Yep.
We have Bill doing a review of Shame on the...
Oh, did we just lose Randy? Or did we lose me? We lost me. Oh, joy.
From before I was born. I have binged 2 seasons of Stranger Things, but I was hoping to catch up before talking about it. So
They did an upgrade to Minecraft. They added a new Nether, so I'm trying to work my way in a new game to the Nether and take a look see.
I'm gradually working there myself. When I have time, when I'm not busy grinding other things. Next week, hopefully, I should be ending Warhammer Vermintide. We should be done with the DLC, and we are actually not going to continue anything on Tuesday nights anymore because right now Ozzy has to work extra early hours on Wednesdays.
All right, so going into our news and birthdays, our birthday on July 7th is John Pertwee. Bad Matt.
I totally somehow missed it. I hate myself. Don't shame me further.
Who of course was the Doctor from 1970 to 1974. would have been 101, but died in 1996 at the age of 76.
Yep.
So, yeah. Happy birthday, John, posthumously.
Yes, many happy returns wherever you are.
And now to our lost story.
All right. An Unearthly Podcast is set to report that Earl Cameron, the longest-lived actor to be on Doctor Who, has died. Earl played an astronaut in the 1966 serial The 10th Planet, the first time in television history a black actor ever portrayed such a position. Earl's history is full of firsts. Originally from Pembroke, Bermuda, Earl became a merchant marine. This career ended with him trapped in London during the Second World War. He went to the theater, and what he saw there fired his interest in acting. By 1942, he was in a West End production of Chu Chin Chow, and by 1945, he was with the Entertainment National Service Association, the British version of the USO, in India entertaining troops. He became the first black British film and theater star, working with people like Sean Connery in Thunderball, and he was awarded...
I killed that last part. There was somebody else, but I kind of realized it wasn't a British actor, so I'm like, why did you include this? Anyway, go ahead.
He was awarded the CBE by Queen Elizabeth in 2009. In 2012, he returned to the land of his birth to open a theater there. He is only one of 4 Doctor Who actors to reach 100. He died on July 3rd.
I believe he became the oldest actor in like 2012, 2014, something like that. He bypassed the last person to have that title.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to also say, since we know him best as an astronaut, Godspeed, Earl Cameron.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder what role did he have in Thunderball?
Oh.
And that had to be if that was Connery's Thunderball, that was the one that wasn't the
official.
Yeah.
I thought that one had a different name.
Are you talking about Never Say Never Again?
Maybe.
No, this one was 1965.
Yeah, that was Sean Connery. That was the 4th Bond movie. Thunderball. It's the one that takes place in Bermuda.
Let's see. I'm looking to see Earl Cameron as Pinder, Bahamian intelligence operative who serves as Bond and Leiter's contact in Nassau. Oh, okay. That actually is pretty much on the nose casting right there.
Yeah, he's an astronaut technically twice.
No, he was from the Bahamas, and he's playing Bahamian intelligence agency.
Yeah.
That's literally character picking, yeah.
That's Nassau, the city, not NASA.
Yeah. Nassau, the big port city in the Bahamas.
Gotcha.
I know this because I play a lot of Assassin's Creed. Black Flag. And yes, you do wind up in Nassau.
I thought Nassau was in Tennessee.
There might be one in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But the famous one's in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Just like there's Birmingham, Alabama, and a Birmingham, England.
I didn't think. I remember hearing something about like a Nassau County, Tennessee, or something like that. But
there might be a county by that name. I mean, I don't know every single.
Yeah, I don't know every county either. I'm not even sure I know every county in Wisconsin.
I know I don't. I know several of them. But I certainly couldn't name every county in Wisconsin. I couldn't name every county in Cali.
Oh, I see. There's a Nassau County in New York, and then there's Nassau itself in the Bahamas.
Yeah. I mean, that's not unusual.
Yeah. Right. There are a few Egypts in the United States and Cairos.
Yeah,
there's literally a little burly.
You want to have fun? Go to Maine. Every place in the earth is in Maine. There's a Mexico Maine, a China Maine, a Norway Maine.
I just want to
Here's
wonder
Maine.
how few times in the history of the United States has that sentence been uttered. If you want to have fun, go to Maine.
Gonna go all the way out there, huh?
Bad Tim. Do not tell people to go to Cthulhu Land.
I'm going to get all the hate mail from horror book characters that want people to visit Maine.
Hey, I lived in Maine for 10 years and I turned out fine.
So, when did the old ones possess your soul there, Tim? And is that why you're an enchanter? We're
I'm
making a
not saying
backstory
that's
for you now,
not-
son.
I'm not saying it's not why I'm not one.
You see, the thing is that Tim's actually just fine on the surface. You wait until your back is turned, and then it's all Cthulhu, Cathargan, bring out the dark ones.
Now Cthulhu, Lovecraft wrote about Massachusetts. It's mainly just Stephen King.
It's kind of that small territory. That's Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. That area there.
New England. New England. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. That area of coast where New Hampshire is like just this tiny border, and you can throw a stone in Massachusetts and hit Maine. That's pretty much the area that Lovecraft wrote about. Anyway.
Don't come cry to me when Dagon comes to rip out your soul.
Anyway, we went on a tangent there.
Yeah.
Oh, what's new?
I'm not even
That's
sure
fair.
where we are now.
We are going to let you talk about the underwater mantis. That's where we are.
That's right. Actually, we're
Cthulhu.
technically we're done with news. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So the underwater menace. So this one was. It took me a little bit to get into because, with the first episode of Telesnaps, I struggled with that episode. But once I got to the 2 live action episodes, I was able to follow along a lot more clearly. And even the 4th episode being Telesnaps didn't bother me that much, even though there was clearly a lot of action happening while just the doctor stared at me lifelessly on the screen. It was a little unnerving. What I really liked about the episode, damn it, I thought I would remember the character's name, but I lost the character in the past 2 hours. The big bad of the episode, the evil scientist. Randy's good with names. If you no,
Dr. Wiley?
no,
Dr. Robotnik?
but the 2 characters that he reminded me of were Salamander and wow, this is an important name not to be forgetting. Davros. Obviously, he's not as good as either of those because those are both just amazing characters, but that's still good company to be in. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed him on screen. Zeroff, that's his name.
Professor Zeroff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was sure
Just
that's
found
a
it.
very memorable name. I'll remember it. And then 2 hours passed.
The
and I didn't
Professor
remember it.
Z.
I'm not sure I have any strong dislikes. I did think it was weird that this seems to be placed on regular Earth. There's a race of basically a race of mer people on Earth that are never brought up again in any form of Doctor Who that I've ever experienced. Maybe in the books somewhere, but
Well, technically, they were kind of forcibly transformed people. I don't know if they can biologically keep going.
okay, I must have missed that part, that's not.
They were about
necessarily
to
a
make
shock.
one of the companions into one of them, Bill.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, Bill.
Okay, so that might explain why they weren't seen after that.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
even though there's probably a multiple real world reasons, that's likely a in-universe reason we could easily
I
throw
thought
out
they were
there.
just in a work. I thought they were just in a work camp. Okay.
They were biologically altered humans, yeah.
Mhm. Well, I meant the companion, like
Well,
in terms.
the two male companions were thrown into a work camp. Yeah, they were going to take the female companion and alter her into a fish person.
Okay. And then she
Ooh,
escaped.
gobble.
She escaped from that. So that didn't
Yep.
happen. Okay. So yeah, I would say I found this to be a pretty enjoyable episode. It's pretty short for a fourth is a four-parter. It was pretty short for a second Doctor episode, which definitely is in its favor, because it's the longer ones that tend to drag on. This felt
Mhm.
very snappy. Again, great antagonist, which I'm noticing is more and more of a trend in the second Doctor era. You get these theatrical antagonists that are fun to see on screen. Again, I mentioned Salamander earlier, and you get like other things later. Um, so if I were to rate this, I'm debating how much to take away just due to what the telesnaps take away. Again, the soulless eyes of the Doctor and Ben staring at me while action seems to be happening in the audio. Um,
Sounds
I
like action's happening, but I can't be sure.
I guess I'm going to give it a 4.
And that will put
Um,
you with the highest.
okay.
That
I like.
puts you in Tim range.
I was sitting there like maybe I should give it a 3.5 and give it a 4 when it comes out animated. I don't know, but I guess I'll just say 4.
All
All
right,
right.
there you are.
That'll raise the average of that one from a 3 to a 3.2. Yeah, because there were two 2.5s on that one, Bill.
Oh,
So
Yeah, I felt that if I remember correctly, I just remember all of the really important action bits being missing and just kind of being like, ugh.
yeah,
right, right.
Well,
So
what we did get was good, but ugh.
Where
I think I had
where
some
the scenes
costuming
of
issues with that
Zeroff,
one too.
the scenes of Zeroff eating the scenery all seem to be there. Actually, no, some of them are missing too. But
So that goes from 298 to 277. All right.
I taketh away, but I also giveth.
Rarely, but it happens. Remember this, folks. Mr. Our critic just gave a high mark. You know, normally this is our group's Jay Sherman. We all like something. He's like, it stinks.
So you're saying I took Aaron's spot?
Not even Aaron was that negative that this often.
For David Tennant episodes, she was.
Even then, she was lightening up.
It was 6 of one, half dozen the other with the Tennants, but she really did not like the movie specials though.
They were kind of eh.
Anyway, so that takes us up to the summary. And I believe, if I look at our schedule, that it's you.
It's who?
You.
Me? Okay.
You.
You said you were trying to say somebody, and then all of a sudden someone else interrupted.
Sorry, I said it's not me. I think while he was saying your name by accident.
Shame. There, I got my shame in for today. All right. So, getting the stopwatch. Yeah, the stopwatch is good.
All right, you ready, Matt?
Oh, gosh. All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
So I'm going to just say right off the bat, I'm terrible with names, but I can remember the characters. So basically, Susan and the Gallifreyan Guard are on this planet that's about to be attacked. It's some ways off from the war, but it's definitely in the next chain of things to be attacked. The main reason they are there is because they are aware that there's a Dalek spy, and they're trying to figure out who it is. They have a few suspects, one of which is a guy who is constantly interviewing everyone, supposedly with a plan to send it off into his people back home, with the hopes of just kind of sharing what people are trying to do in order to remain in the remaining time they have when they know that they're stuck on a planet with the Dalek invasion coming. Another person was, I believe, a younger gal who worked at the bar but had also been recently off planet and seemed very private about her things, including the fact that she's a singer but doesn't ever sing. Apparently, the excuse being that the bar owner doesn't like it. And I forget who the other person was that they had. And no, yeah, I forget who the third person was again. I can't think of them off the
Faith,
top of my head.
Faith, the owner of the bar, but
Well, Faith was one of the ones that they were pursuing. I thought
but
that she
but
came back into focus later, but
no, it was Faith. It was Faith. It was forgetting her name. The assistant who Faith was the one who had been off planet. The assistant hadn't been. She had just been away from the town.
no, she's like off planet too originally though. She ran away from home. But anyway, long story short, as they're trying to figure out who it is, they decide to take scans because they've heard rumors of a device that should be on the planet that should allow people to contact off planet, despite the fact that most communications have been cut off. They took a scan earlier on in the east while going out to go do paintings, or no, in the west while they were going out to do paintings, and they decided to venture over towards the east while trying to still figure out where this might be, but having no luck and trying to see anything unusual. Taking what they had scanned for energy readings, they cut out the middleman and erased everything that matched up, and then realized that there was a spot in particular in their readings where it seems that a big power source might be coming from, although at a distance. They go there. They find out that the man who had been recording people previously had been shot and killed there. Finding this out, they decide to go about trying to find where the murderer might have been and who it might be. They decide to go back to the bar, to which Faith is the first one to talk to them, and then tells Susan to go off to a cave they saw before, which is actually more of a bunker, where she sent her coworker to look for an errand. Susan gets there. She's greeted by turrets, which don't immediately fire, but try to ward her off instead. The person who's running them turns out to be the girl that was sent there on a fake errand, and she just didn't want to hurt Susan, so she started talking to her because she also scanned Susan, and the reason she stopped firing was because she realized she had two hearts. People apparently know enough in this part of the universe that the Time Lords are involved in the war, and they're trying to stop the Daleks. So they treat them with at least enough respect currently. The Gallifreyan guard, I keep repeating her name.
Veclin.
Veclin is with Faith, and they get caught up in the skirmish as it just so happens the last minute to suddenly show up at the planet, so the wars reached them a little bit ahead of schedule than they planned. In the ensuing chaos, Faith is stick with Veclin until they realize that I can't remember their names now. The Ogrons?
Ogrons.
Yeah, they realize that it's actually not dogs, but it's actually their subservient worker race, the Ogrons, that are actually doing this, and they've been robot men-ized, so they're robo-Ogrons. And whereas becoming robot men made the humans dumber, it's actually improved the Ogrons slightly. And the Ogrons are essentially just laying waste to everything here, with only two other missions being collect the spy and capture the resistance leader, to which they fail at both, mostly due to the fact that they figure out the last minute that Faith is supposedly the resistance leader, but they find out the last second that she must be the spy because they found a second body of hers, and Susan uses a stun blast, which turns the chameleon back to its normal self. They take the chameleon in, take her to Gallifrey, where they turn her into the authorities and basically go, "We'll treat you nice for now, If you want to give us information, we can protect you from the Daleks. And basically leave it at that. And then Susan has promised to be sent out on a new mission. And there ends our bit.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you
terrible
did
with
that.
remembering names.
5 minutes, 35 seconds, more or less.
That's basically where I was at, too.
All
By the
right.
way, Lutzo is Faith's. I looked up
Yeah, it was Faith, Lutza, and
Monty.
Lutza.
Monty. Interesting little piece of data there. One of the other characters in here, Yorgi, is played by Dan Starkey.
Yep.
Oh.
Who also plays an Ogron.
Who also plays the second Ogron, yeah. The subservient Ogron, yeah. Well, I mean, Ogrons are just basically Santarans, but dumber anyway.
Yeah.
They're dumber Santarans that work only for Daleks.
And apparently smart Ogrons sound like Brian Blessed, according to Dan Starkey.
Well, at least it's specific to Brian Blessed,
All right.
apparently.
So let's talk about what we liked about this serial. And Matt, you're first.
What I liked about the serial, well, since we've been talking about them, I love the throwback to bring back Ogrons. They've been kind of missing for a while. And I think that they did a pretty good job of bringing them back. They sounded like Ogrons. I hear the couple of voices that they had there, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
It would be nice to see them with modern Doctor Who makeup.
It
Yeah,
would be, yes.
Kind of give them like the next generation Klingon treatment, except not necessarily the ridges, but
Not necessarily the ridges, but at least update the makeup to look at a little more alien and a little more
makeup that looks a little less like blackface. Like the original wasn't quite blackface, but it was uncomfortably close.
It does. There are times where it does kind of like, I'll allow it, but it's getting close there.
Some kind of mask with probably a little CGI touch up here and there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like little touch ups just to make sure that it's seamless and just to update the look, like do something to make it a little more pronounced that these obviously aren't normal humans kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tim, how about you? What did you like?
I really liked the device of Monty, filming personal anecdotes from each person he met. Sort of like as a storytelling guide, and being it like an introduction to each character. I thought that was a very humanizing, if you'll pardon the expression, touch to this story about a war-torn planet, or a planet that's about to be torn by war.
A planet on the brink.
Planet on the brink, is like a nice reminder of what's at stake here.
All right, Bill.
So what I liked was seeing more sides of Eklund's character. We get to see her a little uncomfortable. We get to see her thinking about things. She's doing more than just like being the representation of the Time Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also why I kind of suggested adding her to the credits as a companion, because especially in this story, I really feel like she fills that role of being the companion to Susan's doctor.
All right. So I really liked all the shout outs they made to a lot of classic Who episodes. I mean, yes, you have the Ogrons, which are a shout out to mostly the Third Doctor era, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are Third Doctor era enemies. Funny that.
Oddly enough, so is the planet Florana. Is a planet that John Pertwee's Doctor was trying to get to for most of his final season.
Wait, it was related to Metabolus 3?
No, this was before before wanting to go to Metabolus 3. He was trying to take Sarah there in Death to the Daleks.
Okay.
And the episode before. He was talking about how the planet, the oceans are effervescent,
Gotcha.
so she couldn't sink there.
That's right. And this is set, I believe they said, on a beach resort or something along the.
Mm-hmm.
More or less.
And then finally, you have the Robo-Men shout out, which was a First Doctor thing.
Yep.
Yep.
Although technically speaking, we might have seen evolutions of the Robo-Men in both later classic and modern Who.
Yeah.
Although that was never explicitly stated as such.
Right.
So I kind of liked all of that. So let's talk about what we dislike. Matt?
What disliked? Um, I'm trying to think of something I particularly disliked. I'm having a struggle, so I'm gonna have to say I'll have to pass.
All right.
I'll let you know if I think of something.
Tim?
Okay, just for me personally, I found that a lot of the voice actors had similar sounding voices that it was hard for me to tell who was speaking at times, which made it kind of hard to follow the story at first.
Well, at least a couple of the voice actors were the same people.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have any trouble myself. But
I don't think I did with characters that mattered.
I felt a few of them were maybe slightly samey, but I was able to keep them apart well enough, so I didn't have much of an issue.
all
But
right.
that does seem to be an issue once in a while.
It does, that is an ongoing issue with Big Finish. Now and again. All right, Bill?
So what I disliked was that it seemed really forced by the plot that Susan figured out the twist before Veclin did. It seemed like something that Veclin, with her experience and training, should have realized first. But that it kind of felt like they wanted to give the win to Susan to kind of put her in that doctor role,
Yeah.
rather than giving it to Veclin.
Yeah, it was also something I had figured out well before the two of them did.
I figured it out immediately on my second listen through. My first listen through, I was like, I don't get what's going on, but clearly there's something developing here. But the second time, I was able to tell the exact moment that the plays.
All right, so what I didn't like is it really seemed like most of the people there were really kind of blasé about the fact that they were about to all get exterminated.
They were millennials.
I think that's actually that sense beyond just that. Let me put it to you this way, Randy. This is the people of Florida that put on hurricane parties.
Well, mind you, the people in Florida that put in that throw hurricane parties also have hurricanes nearly every year.
Yes, doesn't stop them from possibly getting killed by it.
Yeah, that's the thing, possibly getting killed by it. Daleks plus invading a planet means you are going to die.
And there's no more ships left in the area, so what you going to do?
I really think it was more gallows humor to keep them from losing their shit than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the people that were losing their shit were probably barricaded in their homes and didn't show up until the Ogrons started mowing people down.
Quite possibly.
All
in which
right.
case, then they came out and ran into a tightly panicked mob.
So, your favorite scene, Matt?
Yeah, I couldn't come up with an overall thing that you guys didn't grab. Favorite scene. I'm gonna go with oh gosh. I can't think of her name again. I want V. I can't think of the rest of her name.
Veclin.
Veclin. Thank you. Yeah, my brain kept trying to say another name that was close but wasn't right. Veclin's interview was kind of amusing.
All right. Tim?
I loved when Susan was explaining like painting to Veclin and the technique of watercolor. That was a very cool thing.
All right.
That showed that Susan was getting into character. Like she's undercover as a painter, so like she has the painter's mindset.
All right. Bill?
I really like the scene of Susan and Monty where Susan's kind of like digging for information and she's kind of just being playful, pretending like she's, safeguarding Veclin's honor and making sure she marries the right man. And I cracked up on
Hmm. So I like the point where they introduce you to the Robogrons. And they're doing the narration. It's like, oh God, they've robotized them. It's made them smarter. Sort of.
And then, yeah, the one the Ogron says something. Well, sort of smarter.
I mean,
That
that
was
is
a
a
good,
pretty
yeah.
low bar.
Right.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't check if anyone's alive.
Matt, least favorite scene.
Oh gosh, least favorite scene. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's officially ridiculous when you set up a small explosion, and everyone behind the cloud of dust is like, and everybody laid down. Just walks close to them, goes, "Yup, they're dead," and walks off again. What the heck?
Like they said, not a high, or like Randy said, not a high bar to cross.
I thought they were at least smarter than that, but you know what? Apparently not.
Apparently, it takes out some of their aggression. Oh, dead.
I'm too lazy now. I don't want to bother. They're all
Yeah,
laying down.
Going back to ship. Dewey, fetch me a beer. Yep. All right.
Another day, another innocent murder.
Yeah. I didn't really have any one particular scene that annoyed me, so I'm gonna have to pass. Like I think Matt took the one scene I would have taken.
All right. Bill?
I couldn't come up with one when I was doing my notes, and I've been thinking, listening to you guys, I still haven't come up with one, so I'm passing.
All
Wow.
right. Up to me now, huh?
Yup.
No
Just
pressure.
like that. Just like that. I'm the one with a bad scene. No pressure.
I think the scene where they each destroy their comm links. Because
Oh yeah, that was pointlessly silly.
yeah, that just seemed to be it was like you can obviously turn them off. You can see they're turned off. You can then put them away from you. Do you have to then pretty much stomp on them? No.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought
Although
of something.
if they hadn't done that, it would have really blown the twist early.
Tim.
Is like the scene where who is it says if to Veclin, like, if you are who you say you are, if I kill you, you'll just get better. It's like
Faith.
Faith says to Veclin, and it's like, wow, way to tease a regeneration like that, and it's like, of course, I knew like they weren't gonna do it, because like there was only one cast person listed in the episode, but
Yeah, and I kept trying to think of the doctor's response to that would have been something along the lines of, "I'd rather you not."
yeah.
I'd rather you not, but if you must, you must. Just open up his jacket. Just put it right here where I can cover it.
I do kind of feel like, I wonder, like, the war doctor at this stage would have just been like, yeah, get it over with.
Just about,
Okay.
yeah.
And the 11th Doctor would have been trying to avoid it at all costs.
Right.
It's like
So with the 10th, because he was a little, vain.
But the 11th Doctor would have been like, actually, no, I won't get better.
Actually, yeah, I
no, I
laugh.
won't get better. Have you seen this face? I like this face. It goes good with fezzes.
Okay.
So maybe I'll look like the Master if you shoot me the right way.
Final thoughts, Matt?
Actually, I was thinking of a joke with the Ogrons, but anyway. Final thoughts. I really like this story. Not too really much to complain about here. A lot of it was just really good. A lot of nice throwbacks, nice touches. It's interesting to have a villain that you think is going to be the dogs, but there's a heel turn and a callback at the same time. The voice actors all did a great job. Still loving Susan being our more or less doctorish character for this run. Veclin's been getting a nice slow growth here too, and like to see what's going to happen next again. It's keeping me going.
All right. Tim?
I thought this was an okay episode. I do wish there had been at least a bit more one-off characters, like to pad out the whole interview things, interview subplot, and I think Susan could have had more to do throughout the entire story. But I did like all the callbacks to other episodes, and the denouement of the twist ending was well handled. So this was a pretty okay story.
All right. Bill?
So I really enjoyed this story. I feel like the biggest thing that it did was, as somebody who has not been buying every Big Finish Time War thing that comes out because that's just too expensive, to me, Veclin was just generic Time Lord number 34 up until listening to this story. And this story really elevates her to being a character in her own right, which is nice. Um, there were enough callbacks to make it worth, to make it not feel like a bait and switch. It's still related to the Doctor Who mythos in general. And we got to see, Susan do some problem solving and not, even though some of it felt a little bit forced, she still got to be more than, do things that the teenage girl her might not have been capable of and show that she's a seasoned combatant in her own right. The one thing that felt a little off about this to me was that the whole conceit of the episode about chasing a Dalek agent from the Sense Sphere seemed weird to me, um, because I never got the impression in Sphere of Influence that there was a Dalek agent that was still hanging around. And it wasn't like, it just seems like something like they mentioned it in the behind the scenes. Um, but I would not have gotten the idea that these two stories were in any way connected without the behind. So
Actually, they did
that part
mention
of
it
it
a bit
seemed
in
weird
this
to
episode
me.
too, but yeah.
Oh yeah, they mentioned where did you go after the Sense Sphere. You're right, but it's
Mhm.
still like it does not seem like a natural progression. It seemed like a way to justify a sequel rather than something that was part of Sphere of Influence that they built off of. But I do think that's pretty much a nitpick because these are more or less standalone stories.
Mhm.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a continuation off a Doctor Who episode and not a modern one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just about. I also wanted to add in one more thing that I happened to think of. Someone's favorite scene was that bit with Susan talking to the interviewer guy afterwards.
Yep. That was me. Yeah.
The part I like about that is that she's very much almost like grandmotherly, which is an
Yes.
interesting twist being the doctor's granddaughter.
That's right. I wonder if she was taking tricks she had seen the Doctor use. I don't
Which is very possible.
considering the last time she saw him in that form, he was setting her up with future husband
Mm-hmm.
and baby daddy.
Yeah, mind you, according to the Big Finish stuff, she has been a mother by this point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And she's lost her son to the Daleks already. So
Yeah.
Just a little bit of grandmotherly instinct suddenly kicking in.
And that's part of this episode. Yeah, they mention her son being, I think they said 93% human.
something like that, and that was actually from previous audios.
Okay.
Because the Eighth Doctor met um, Susan's son, and at one point scanned him and discovered that only 7% of his DNA was Gallifreyan. Don't ask me how that's possible.
Yeah, Time Lord biology is flipping weird.
I was gonna say, yeah, and interspecies mating is kind of an advanced field of biology anyway. Xenobiology at that.
Anyway, so my final thoughts about this is decent. I like the shout outs. I like the who is it? Who's the bad guy investigation, because I do like investigation stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that. I enjoyed most of it. It only had a couple of small things that I did not like, but those were nitpicks, and I know it. All right. So ratings. Matt, you are first.
Overall rating. I feel like there could have been a few more tweaks, just a few more, and it would have been perfect. That being said, oh gosh, it's really close, but I'm leaning on 4.5.
Okay.
Very close though.
All right, Tim.
And I will agree with Matt and give it 4.5.
Bill.
Yeah, I think mine comes right on the opposite side of the rounding and comes out to a 5.0.
Oh wow.
I am going to go majority and give this a 4.5.
Still not bad rating.
Yeah, the average comes out to a 4.6. That will put it at number 39.
Nice. Both of
So
these have
that's
been in the force, haven't they?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Puts it on par with The Seeds of Death, Talons of Wang Chiang, Arachnids in the UK, The Ghost Monument, The Invasion of Time, The Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, The Return of Dr. Mysterio, The Ark, and The Bells of St. John. It is better than Big Finish, The Thousand Worlds, Heart of Battle, and is worse than... Do we have a Big Finish that it is better than? Yes. Big Finish Class in Remembrance is apparently better by 1 point.
Ooh.
So there we go.
Close though.
Yep. There we go. Yeah, remember, that was the one with Ace.
Yeah.
There we go. 39 out of 348 things reviewed. That is all we have to say about Big Finish, The Uncertain Shore.
All right. So if you've listened to this, please let us know in the comments what you think about it. Also, don't forget to like or dislike the podcast if you feel either of those things. Pretty sure it'll get us a few more views if you do. So, even if you hate us. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to keep getting our YouTube exports or to follow to keep seeing our new shows on Twitch.
All right. So next week, we're continuing Susan's War with the third story, Assets of War, written by Lou Morgan and starring Carol Ann Ford as Susan Campbell and Beth Chalmers as Veclin. See you next week.
All right. Good night.
Good night.